So, hi guys, my name is Yash. I'm a ECBA certified business analyst. So today we'll be continuing with our CraftCart stakeholder management simulation. So in the simulation, we'll be discussing about stakeholder mapping and RACI Matrix. Let's begin. So in the first stakeholder mapping, as a BA, I'll ask, good morning everyone. Thank you for joining. Today I want to understand your involvement in CraftCart MVP launch so I can finalize the stakeholder mapping. This will help us manage communications and expectations better. So as we all know, stakeholder mapping is crucial first step in understanding who will impact or be impacted by CraftCart's MVP launch. This is like a visual exercise which helps us identify communication needs and engagement strategies. So yeah, let's begin. Let's begin the conversation so it becomes easy for you to understand exactly what I'm trying to do here. So let's understand stakeholder rules. So as a BA, I'll ask Anita, who is a project sponsor. So Anita, since you are the sponsor, how do you see your role in decision making? So Anita will respond, I have final say on approvals, timelines, and funding decisions, but I depend on the product owner and project manager for day to day inputs. So as a BA, my analysis would be okay. So Anita clearly has high power, okay, but she may not be involved in every daily task since she dependent on project manager and the project sponsor. So that will place her in the stakeholder map under keep satisfied. She needs updates and confidence that we are on track. So yeah, that's how easy it is to map. So product owner's involvement. So as a BA, I'll ask Shweta, who is a CraftCart owner and product visionary. So Shweta, as the owner of CraftCart, where do you feel you fit in shaping requirements? So Shweta will respond, I'll be hands-on with defining the customer experience, reviewing backlog priorities, and approving key deliverables. I need to know how the platform will impact both buyers and sellers. So I'll say exactly. Shweta has high power and high influence. She's driving the product vision and actively involved in requirements. That means she falls in managed closely. She'll need frequent updates and direct collaborations. Okay? I hope you guys are getting it, right? Then the product manager's priorities comes. Conversation with product manager. So I will ask Priya, who is the product manager. Priya, what's your priority here? Priya will say, making sure features like secure payments, returns, and analytics are built properly. I'll work closely with Shweta and team. So I'll say, okay, Priya is also high power and high influence. So she too is in managed closely. So that's how a BA is basically thinking while having this conversation with the stakeholder. This is a very vague conversation, if I tell you very frankly. It's very small conversations, but this is a very starting idea that a BA gets when he is conversating with the project owner, the sponsor, and everyone who he's having in the meeting. So this is very important. So the marketing and the logistics stakeholders. The BA will ask the marketing and the logistics stakeholders, how about your teams? Marketing rep will respond, we don't have a big role in MVP, but we need to know what's coming so we can plan campaigns. The logistic rep will say, okay, same here. We need visibility so we can align delivery promises. So BA will say to the audience, okay, these teams don't control the project, but their influence on the customer experience is important. So they go under keep informed. Okay, so as you can see, this is a stakeholder map. This is like low power, high influence, and low influence. So under low power and uh, high influence, managed closely comes. Okay, I think this instead of this, I think there's a better option, which I will show you, like the stakeholder map which I have done, so you can get a pretty good idea, right? First, let's finish this conversations of the simulation. So, customer support's role: BA to a customer support rep, and support. Customer support will say, we just need to know how order tracking and returns will work, so we can assist customers. So, so we will think, okay, customer support has low power and low influence in the MVP since they don't have much work in the because it's a minimum, it's the first phase, right? It's a minimum viable process. So anyway, the customer support role, the marketing role will be very less, so they will be kept in the keep informed actually placed, so they are placed under monitor, so we'll keep an eye on the needs, but communication will be minimal. So yeah, I think they will be kept under monitor. Okay, that's how they will be kept. Perfect. I thought they will be kept under keep informed, but yeah, my bad. So as you can see, the stakeholder mapping summary, BA summarizes the stakeholder mapping. So here's our stakeholder mapping grid for CraftCart. So managed closely will be Shweta, owner, Priya, product manager, Anita, sponsor, core project team. Keep satisfied will be sellers and high value buyers. Keep informed will be marketing, sales and logistics, and monitor will be customer support, legal and NGOs. So that's how it's this is a stakeholder map. Okay, so my stakeholder map kind of varies from it, if I tell you very frankly. So in my stakeholder map, you can see in the keep satisfied, I've kept sellers and high value buyers. Since I think it's very important to satisfy the sellers and buyers, so yeah. And then in the manage closely, I've kept Shweta, Anita, Priya. I think it's very similar. Yes, it's very similar. So yeah, that's how the stakeholder mapping grid of CraftCart looks like. I think it's very clear. Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, let's move forward then. Let's discuss about the RACI matrix. Okay. So I think before that, I just want you to walk through this again, so that you get a real good idea about what we are doing here. So in this CraftCart stakeholder mapping, we have kept high power and high influence to manage closely, right? So manage closely is we manage them very closely, basically, um, because they are the ones we are going to show the changes and every single thing, right? So manage closely them. Then keep satisfied is sellers and high value buyers, super important. If the sellers and high value buyers are not satisfied while we are building this MVP or project, since we are going to show them the prototypes and stuff like that, then it doesn't make sense, right? There's no profit or anything. Then monitor is customer support, legal and compliance and NGO. So this comes under low power and low influence. So they have very low power right now because it's a very starting stage of the product, the MVP. So yeah, that's how it is. And then it's high power. This is high influence and low power. Okay, low power and high influence is keep informed. Sales department, marketing department, logistic department. Like I said, these departments have very less influence. Okay, sorry, very high influence, but at this point of time they don't have much power because right now it's a MVP, starting stage of the product. So I hope you guys understand, like the keep satisfied is high power. Okay, they have a lot of power because the sellers and the high value buyers are very powerful because they are driving the business, right? So they have high power but they have low influence. Okay, high power but low influence. And if you see the managed closely, they have high power and high influence. They drive the project. They know they can, their decisions matter for the project the most. So we have to. So this stakeholder mapping is basically that it helps the BA to understand whom to approach at what moment of time, and that's how we get a clarity. Okay, so let's move forward for the RACI matrix, that is the responsible, accountable, consulted and informed one. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, so RACI example is your user story creation. So I, as a BA, would ask Shweta, who's the owner. For example, in the user story creation, I as a business analyst am responsible for writing the stories. But Shweta as a product owner, you are accountable because you approve them before development begins. Sellers and buyers may be consulted for requirements while the dev team is simply informed. So that's how I'm like thinking, okay, now Shweta is a project owner, so she would obviously be, accountable. Like whatever stories I am writing right now, user stories, like for example, you know, I want like a user story goes. For example, you can say, as a user, I want uh, this feature in, and I want this feature in the app or something like that, you know. And as a BA, I'm writing the user stories for the users and for the uh, all the teams and everything, right? We are as a business analyst, we write user stories. We'll discuss that further. I don't want to discuss it here because then it would spoil the fun of the simulation which I am creating. But yeah, that's how we'll write proper user stories. That time you'll understand what a user story is. But now, since I am responsible for writing the user story, so BA will be in R. Okay, BA will be given R. Then Shweta, as a product owner, she'll be accountable, since she will be looking at my user stories and she will be checking it and stuff like that. So she'll be accountable because she is going to approve them before the development team, before it goes to the development teams. And the sellers and the buyers may be consulted because they would be also involved in understanding what kind of user stories are important for the project. And the dev team is simply informed because at the end of the day, their job is just to do the work, right? So they are informed at the last. So the approval and the consultation is done by the owner, project owner, that is Shweta, and the sellers and the buyers are consulted. Okay, I hope you guys understand. It's very simple. It's super simple. So let's move forward. Sprint planning. So I'll ask the sponsor, Anita. In sprint planning, the Scrum Master is responsible for facilitating, while you, Anita, are accountable for ensuring alignment with business priorities. I, as a BA, along with other stakeholders, will be consulted, and the dev team is informed so they can plan their task. So in the sprint planning, in the start, for example, the Scrum Master is responsible, so he will be given R, right? Because Scrum Master usually are the one who plan the sprints. And while Anita, who is a sponsor, is accountable for looking at the sprints, for ensuring the alignment with the business priorities. All the sprints are aligning with the business priorities, right? So, as a BA, with other stakeholders, I'll be consulted, since I'll also be looking at the sprints and the alignment with the business priorities. So, I'll be consulted, and the dev team is informed so they can plan their task accordingly. So this is so cool. The RACI matrix really helps us to understand who is responsible, who is accountable, who is consulted, who is informed. It's just really cool. So let's go to another example where we look for backlog refinement. So I'll ask Priya, who is a project manager. In backlog refinement, you will take the lead as responsible. Okay, while the Scrum Master is accountable, I'll support you with requirements and the dev team gets updates as informed. So in the backlog refinement, you will take the lead as responsible is basically R, the product manager. Since backlog refinement is basically it's like you are basically giving the task. So the product manager is the one who is actually assigning task. So in the backlog refinement, you'll take so the Priya will take the lead as responsible, while the Scrum Master is accountable, since he will be checking the sprints and every single thing. And I'll support you will, and as a BA, I'll be supporting with the requirements, and the dev team gets updated as informed. So you can see business analyst is consulted, dev team is informed. So I hope you guys understand, what exactly I'm trying to convey with all these examples, because the RACI matrix, that is the main thing which I want you to understand, how exactly a BA is thinking from the priorities, how we are dividing the priorities like responsible, accountable, consulted, informed. So responsibles are the doers, the people who are important for to carry out this project, right? Who are very responsible, like for example, backlog refinement, the product manager is responsible, right? In that way, consulted BA is consulted, and in accountable is the Scrum Master. Informed is a dev team, because dev team mostly are those who simply need updates because they are going to do the real work, right? So accountable is the owner of the decision. So like for example, when I'm writing user story, so I am responsible for writing the user story. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to write it. Then the Shweta is the owner. The owner of CraftCart is accountable since she is going to check it before I submit it to a development team. Then the consulted ones are the buyers and the sellers, since they are also going to look into it, since it's very important for to concern them, since they are going to uh, understand from the perspective of a buyer and a seller. So consulted and informed is a dev team, since they are going to just work on the task. So they are going to be informed, okay, the project owner is approved, the buyers and sellers who are consulted are approved, and the business analyst is has done the user stories, and that's how you have to prioritize and make sure these requirements are well curated and executed. So that's how we end our discussion. So that's how manage stakeholders in CraftCart using these two tools as a stakeholder mapping and the RACI matrix. Together they keep the project transparent, structured, and conflict free. In our next video, we'll explore translate stakeholder needs into actual business requirements and user stories. Stay tuned. Yeah, this is I'm very, very, very excited for user stories and BRDs, FRDs, all these documents. But I just wanted to get through this stakeholder mapping simulation, because this is super, super important before any project that a BA takes on, is to understand who has high power, high influence, who has low power, low influence, and all these factors chip in when we are actually doing the business analysis work. And likewise, RACI matrix is also super important to understand that. So I will show you the RACI matrix which I have created. So this is the one. So in the sprint planning, as you can see, the scrum master is very responsible, right? He is going to plan the sprints. Then the product owner is accountable. She is going to look into the sprints. The consulted ones are business analysts and stakeholders. The informed one is development team and business analysts. Just like that, user story creation, business analyst is responsible, right? He's going to create the user stories. Product owner Shweta is going to look into it. The stakeholders are also going to be consulted whether the user stories, what do you think? It's great, not great, because maybe the product owner has the idea but is not sure. So that's how it is. And the informed is development team and the business analyst. So that's how I have done this RACI matrix. I hope you get it, because this is so, so, so important. Okay. um, and this is so easy, and it's more fun. It's really fun to create all these things. So I hope you guys understand something. I know I have not explained that well these concepts, because I'm going through some personal problems in life and I have been late, but I'll make sure that I'll just continue the simulation properly, since I'm anyway going to be going through interviews in some moment of time. But I hope I explained it well. Uh, and this is the thing, I am also learning as you guys. I just opened this PPT right now and explaining you just right away, because that's how I learn, and I want people to learn. So I hope you guys understand that stakeholder mapping is all about power, to know, for a BA to know whom to approach. Like the power and influence is super important, and at the same time, RACI matrix is basically also for whom to approach and who is responsible, accountable, who should be consulted, and who should be informed. So I hope you guys understand. This is very simple. You can also search more videos on YouTube on that, and just master this and understand, right? As we do more projects, I think I'll understand better. I just don't want to waste more time. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and have a great day.